My in-laws kept testing my 7-year-old's phobia of dogs by hiding our neighbor's pit bull in closets and laughing when she had panic attacks. She needs to get over it, my mill said, stop babying her. When I found my daughter hyperventilating under the kitchen table after they surprised her again, I said, you're right. No more babying. Then I called the police, CPS, and showed them the security footage. They'll never see her again. I also called CPS. And then I showed them the security footage. You see, Jake and I had installed a comprehensive security system in our house about 6 months earlier after some break-ins in our neighborhood. But we'd also given Carol and Bill a camera to install at their house after their neighbor's house was burglarized. The camera system was connected to our account so we could monitor both properties from one app. What Carol and Bill didn't know was that their security cameras had been recording every single incident where they deliberately exposed Emma to dogs. Every single one. The footage showed Carol clearly leading the neighbor's dog into their house before the first surprise encounter. It showed Bill putting the dog in the guest bedroom and closing the door before telling Emma to go upstairs to get a book. It showed Carol hiding the pit bull in the pantry and then deliberately sending Emma in there alone. The police officer who responded to my call was a father of 3 young children himself. When I showed him the footage of Carol trapping Emma in the pantry with a large dog while Emma screamed in terror, his face went white. Ma'am, he said, this appears to be deliberate psychological abuse of a child. I'm going to need to file a report and contact Child Protective Services immediately. The CPS investigator who came to our house the next day was equally horrified by the footage. She explained that deliberately triggering a child's known phobia repeatedly, especially after being told by the parents to stop, constituted psychological abuse under state law. What your in-laws have been doing is called systematic trauma re-exposure, she told us. It's a form of psychological torture that's sometimes used on prisoners of war. To do this to a child, especially a child with a documented phobia being treated by a licensed therapist, is clearly abusive. Within 48 hours, CPS had filed for an emergency protective order preventing Carol and Bill from having any contact with Emma until a full investigation could be completed. The police also opened a criminal investigation into charges of child endangerment and psychological abuse. Jake was initially resistant to the legal action. They're my parents, he said. They love Emma. They just don't understand how serious her phobia is. But when Dr. Martinez explained the extent of the psychological damage that had been done to Emma, Jake's perspective changed completely. Emma was now showing signs of complex trauma beyond just her original dog phobia. She was having nightmares about being trapped, she developed anxiety about going to other people's houses, and she was constantly apologizing for being scared of things. Your in-laws have essentially spent over a year conditioning your daughter to believe that her fear is shameful and that the adults who are supposed to protect her will instead deliberately expose her to her worst fears, for their own amusement, Dr. Martinez explained. This has created a deep sense of insecurity and has damaged her ability to trust adults to keep her safe. The legal proceedings took about 2 months to complete. During the investigation, CPS interviewed Emma with a child psychologist present. Emma was able to articulate that Carol and Bill had deliberately scared her with dogs multiple times and that she'd asked them to stop but they'd laughed at her. The most damning piece of evidence was actually audio from the security system. In one recording, you could clearly hear Carol telling Bill, I hid Max in the playroom closet. When Emma goes down there, I'll close the door so she can't run away. Maybe that will